But let me continue in segment 6. By continuing in that shred number, I guess it was shred number 5, involving the conflict between South Korean destroyer. It's a type of warship, and the Japanese surveillance fighter jet over at a spot spot in the ocean between South Korea and Japan. Let me start from there. Okay? So once again, I apologize for that abrupt termination of segment number 5. So this is segment number 6. Let me share this story of an indicator that I found that shows the evil and crafty anti-US President of South Korea, Moon Jae-in's desire to dismantle the highly valued and important U.S.-Korea bilateral alliance and coalition and military alliance by dismantling the U.S., Japan, South Korea Trilateral coalition and military alliance. To eventually cause the withdrawal of the U.S. troops and all the artilleries from South Korea, from the Korean Peninsula altogether, by just reading off from a political op-ed that was posted on www.defensenews.com by one of its the commentators, whose name is Jeff Jong. It was published on December 26th of 2018. Let me just read off from the article posted on that website. Once again, the website was defensenews.com. Jeff Jung, a reporter and columnist for defensenews.com, wrote, and I quote the following: on December 20, 2018, a 3,900-ton class KDXI destroyer of the South Korean Navy allegedly locked its separate target illumination radar, or STIR, on a P-1 patrol aircraft of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. While the ship was searching for a North Korean fishing boat in distress in the eastern waters of the islets of Dokdo, islands of Dokdo. It's an island that is highly disputed, whose ownership is highly disputed between South Korea and Japan. Directing the fire control radar at a target can be regarded a step away from actual firing. Japan's military and diplomatic authorities have made a strong protest with the South Korean counterparts against the radar operations, which they call extremely dangerous. But Seoul's Seoul, South Korea's Ministry of National Defense has denied the destroyer used the target radar, saying the ship used a three-dimensional radar. The military later admitted the ship operated a camera attached alongside the radar to look for the North Korean boat. The latest incident is a sign of confrontation between America's two close allies in the East Asia, said Shin In-kyun, head of Korea Defense Network, a Seoul-based defense think tank. The incident came at an awkward time when the relations of South Korea and Japan hit a lowest ebb over territorial and historical disputes. Mr. Shin said, "I am worried if the worsening relations of Seoul and Tokyo could hamper trilateral defense cooperation with the U.S. in the region," the analyst said. Just a week before the radar face-off, South Korea staged annual drills to defend the Dokdo Islets, mobilizing battleships and combat airplanes. The exercise triggered an angry backlash from the Japanese government. According to officials of Seoul's Ministry of National Defense, North Korea would not be described as an enemy for the first time in the soon-to-be published 2018 Defense White Paper. Instead, the biennial paper is to describe the term of enemy as every force that threatens the lives and property of South Korea. An Sung-bum, a military analyst and publisher of the Defense Times in Seoul, expects South Korea's military buildups to be accelerated with a focus on responding to potential threats by neighboring countries, particularly Japan. "I believe the radar issue was just a strange happening, but the situation offers a glimpse of situations the two forces potentially could confront sometime in the future," he said. Alright, I just quoted a part of the article written and posted by Jeff Jung, a reporter and columnist of DefenseNews.com on its website. If you were listening to what I just read off, the article I found on the DefenseNews.com website, you can obviously tell that there's a growing tension between South Korea and Japan. This tension started to grow again when the evil and crafty president of South Korea, Jae-In, started to resurrect all the pains and the pains and sufferings and all these negative things about what happened between Japan and Korea during the World War II and during the Japanese occupation of Korean Peninsula. But I look at this as the crafty and evil president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in's intent to dismantle the U.S.-South Korea coalition and military alliance by dismantling the U.S., Japan, and South Korea trilateral coalition and military alliance, which has been sustained for over past 70 plus years. And all of a sudden, Moon Jae-in is resurrecting all this long buried pains and unwanted conflicts. So we can tell he's definitely revealing his identity, true identity that he has been hiding. His identity as a anti-U.S. Strong pro-China, and he wants to continue to be Kim Jong-un's puppet, advocating for his survival during the UN and US-led economic sanctions against North Korea, which is really sad. I'm really saddened to hear that Moon Jae-in decided to resurrect long time buried all the pains and the sufferings from conflicts and the clash between South Korea and Japan. Even today, as I speak, Moon Jae-in, the crafty and evil president of South Korea, continues to do everything he can do to cause the United States president, today's case, the case will be President Donald Trump, to seriously consider pulling or withdrawing the U.S. troops and U.S. artilleries from South Korea. That's his goal. His goal is to cause President Trump to decide to pull all the U.S. troops and UN peacekeeping forces out of South Korea, so that North Korean big fat ugly pig Kim Jong-un can invade down into South Korea and just swallow the whole South Korea and become the ruler of the unified Korean Peninsula. So, Moon Jae-in is nothing more than a puppet commissioned by North Korean Kim Jong-un to constantly intimidate President Trump and aggravate him until President Trump decides to pull out of South Korea. I'm not the only one Asian American who see this. This is so obvious. If you watch all the news that's coming out of South Korea and Japan, it is so easy for you to realize the South Korean president, crafty and evil Moon Jae-in, he is nobody else. He's nothing more than a puppet working for the crazy, cruel and brutal aggressor Kim Jong-un of North Korea, and also for Xi Jinping of China to to undermine the dominance of the United States of America and its military power in the whole world. And he shouldn't be allowed to continue in his attempt to dismantle the United States dominance and the U.S. South Korea coalition and military alliance.